Week 3 of the NFL season is upon us, and today I got my 3 favorite spreads and my 2 other leans that I really do like this upcoming Sunday. What's going on? My name's Austin from Calling Our Shot. I appreciate you for coming out to this video that gets posted every Wednesday at noon Eastern time. Last week's video was a doozy. We had Cowboys plus 8.5, Cardinals plus 6, Patriots money line. Even our 2 leans, which we don't count towards our official record, but the Jags plus a 4.5 and the 49ers minus 9, both cash with ease. Our lone loss from last week's video was the Broncos, team total over 27.5 as they forgot how to score in the red zone. But either way, a 10-4 record on spreads and over-unders to start the year at a 71% clip. Doesn't get better than that, and I don't know if that will continue the whole year long. I probably doubt it, but hopefully we continue to be dialed in, and hopefully we continue to make you guys some money. If you are new to the Calling Our Shot channel, do me a favor. Go down below, hit that subscribe button. Also, drop a like too. It only takes a second and it helps the channel grow. Closing in on 40,000 subscribers. Go get that done. I know the player props have been struggling so far. That's what we're known for on the Calling Our Shot channel. Guarantee you those will turn around. We'll start with that this week. But my last note before I dive into my first pick, if you are new and you are interested in signing up for a new sportsbook, we got a bunch of cool different offers. For Caesars, we have some risk-free bets. For BetMGM, we have deposit matches. Go check that link down below in the description, dimers.com/COS. Use our link to help support the channel. If you sign up, use them, and definitely go take advantage. Let's hop into my first pick, though. Now, in week 1, we faded the Cincinnati Bengals. Checkmark. Was a success. Week 2, we faded the Bengals again. Success. In week 3, are we fading the Bengals and going with the New York Jets? Absolutely not. I will be taking the Bengals. Minus 4.5 as my first pick for Sunday. Now, let's talk about this. It's minus 110 on Caesars. And yes, I am a Jet fan. You can see the pennant behind me. But and if you saw last week's victory, someone could say the Jets are back. But look, the Jets needed a miracle to get that win. They needed an onside kick. They needed to score 2 touchdowns in less than 2 minutes. And they got it done, surprisingly. I'm sorry if the Browns took a lot of your coin last week, or technically the Jets stole your coin. But let's talk about this one, because this is more about the Bengals, and I like them in this matchup. Now, the Bengals offensive line, it's been brutal. I'd argue it hasn't even showed up for 2 weeks. They've been taking the weeks off. Maybe they're still in the preseason mode, but they've been terrible. 13 sacks allowed to Joe Burrow. And while he can definitely limit his number of sacks taken, they're still not giving him a lot of time back there. That's the most sacks allowed in the NFL this season. Second closest will be Jameis Winston at 10, and then next will be Stafford at 8. Now, the Bengals have faced 2 elite defensive lines. I mean, they faced TJ Watt, who got injured at the end of that game in week 1, and then Micah Parsons last week. So the defensive line is very good going against their offensive line. I think they're going to be a little bit better this week because the Jets don't have an elite pass rusher like that. The Jets have registered just 3 sacks to their name this season, and ESPN has a list of teams with the highest team pass rush success rate. And look at these. The Cowboys are 5th at a 52% success rate. Steelers 15th at 41%. The Jets, you have to go way down the list at 30th in the NFL at just a 29% success rate for pass rush. Like, I don't see that pass rush getting any better this week. And there's another motivating fact for the Bengals. Well, the Jets beat them last season. No one expected the Jets to beat the Bengals, and it happened as the Jets were down by 11 with only 7 minutes, 29 seconds in the fourth quarter. They came back and won by 3 points. And that took Mike White, the backup QB, 3rd string technically this year, to go for 37 for 45, 405 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I know Joe Flacco did well last week, but I don't see the Jets being able to duplicate that QB, success they had last year against this Bengals team. Also a stat, since 2003, the NFL teams that start the year 0-2 against the spread are 81-64, 56% clip in week 3. That is what the Bengals are. They're 0-2, not only straight up, but also against the spread. Give me the Bengals minus 4.5. I hate to fade my favorite team, but I don't trust the Jets at home in this matchup. I think the Bengals have to come out here and win this one, and I think they will get it done. Let's segue to my second pick. Another team that's 0-2 against the spread, and another team that faced the Bengals in the Super Bowl, as I'll be riding with the Rams, minus 3.5 versus the Cardinals, which is minus 110 on DraftKings. Now, if you heard at the top of the show, we bet on the Cardinals last week. They get plus 6. We didn't even need the 6 points as they won outright with that touchdown, fumble recovery for a touchdown, an electric win in overtime. But the reason we took them was they were on the road. This is a team, and the Cardinals back at home in week 3 that has struggled at home under Cliff Kingsbury since 2019 when Kingsbury took over. They're 9-16 against the spread at home, 5th worst in the NFL. Since 2019, the Rams have owned this Cardinals team. They're 6-1 straight up. Their margin of victory is 9.71 points in those 7 games. And while they did lose 1 last year to the Cardinals, that was in LA. This is a Cardinals team that's notoriously struggled at home. They've been really bad at home the past 2 seasons. And you look at this games, the last 3 games where the Rams have been at Arizona. It's been 30-23, 38-28, 34-7. They even spanked them in the playoffs when that game was at LA. I really like this team. We saw Kyler Murray having to make several highlight plays in week 2 just to get a win, to push that game to overtime, converting 2-point conversions. I mean, Kyler Murray was all over the field, but I think the Rams, who have seen him a little bit more than the Raiders have, will have a game plan for him. I obviously saw them spank him in the playoffs last year. And look, the Rams didn't look great last week. I won't lie to you. They didn't look great in week 1. I mean, they won last week against the Falcons 31-27 with Marcus Mariota and team kind of threatening them at the end of the game before Jalen Ramsey sealed it. Under Sean McVay, though, the Rams, 26-19 against the spread on the road. That's a 58% clip. And the Rams are also 5-0 in road openers under Sean McVay. They've won all their first road games of the season. I think they continue that. You're giving us 3.5 points. I certainly think they can get that done, win by at least 4, potentially more than that. So Rams, minus 3.5, absolutely love it. As for my third and final pick, I know a lot of you guys will not like this one, but I have to do it, as I'll be taking the Broncos money line, plus 105 on Caesars. You can take their spread at plus 1.5 if you want to be safe, but give me the money line at plus value. Now, the Broncos, like the Bengals, like the Rams, 0-2 against the spread this season. I already referenced this stat since 2003. NFL teams that start the season 0-2 against the spread are 81-64 against the spread in week 3. It's a 56% clip. And while I'm not here to condone what the Broncos did last week or in week 1 in terms of getting into the red zone, because since 2000, they're the only team with 5 goal-to-go situations with no touchdowns to their name in those situations. It's the team that's been really struggling in the red zone, and Nathaniel Hackett, your head's on the chopping block, well, at least in fans' eyes, because this team's really, I don't know what they're doing in the red zone. I imagine they shore that up in week 3 against the 49ers. Now, look at the Broncos. They've gained the 7th most yards in the league, and while they don't have a lot of points to show for it, I do think they get back on track on Sunday against this 49ers ball club. Now, everyone's writing off the Broncos early. I mean, this is a team with a new QB and a new head coach. People are writing them off, but I think week 3 they turn it around. This is a Broncos roster that's talented from the top to the bottom. Their offense, super talented. Defense, super talented. And I think they can certainly get it done. Russell Wilson, in his career, has owned the San Francisco 49ers. I don't have to remind 49ers fans, they're happy he's out of the division. But in his career, 16-4 lifetime against the 49ers with 36 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Jimmy Garoppolo will start for the 49ers this week. Just sadly, Trey Lance obviously got injured last week. If you missed it, I believe he fractured his ankle. Get well soon, Mr. Trey Lance. But still, I'm not sold on Jimmy Garoppolo in this offense being able to get it done. I know they beat up on the Seahawks. Congrats to you guys last week. And I know you could say the comparison, well, the Seahawks beat the Broncos in week 1. That was a much different game than obviously what they saw in week 2 to the 49ers. Now, through 2 weeks, Broncos defense has been great. Allowed the 5th fewest rushing yards per game in the NFL. The 49ers have a very good rush defense as well through 2 weeks. But at the end of the day, if both rush defenses are solidifying the run, not giving many yards there, who do I trust more, Russell Wilson or Jimmy Garoppolo? I know people could say, maybe based off the last week, to overreact and say Jimmy G's back and whatnot, but I really do think the Broncos get it done. I see on Action Network, everyone's writing off the Broncos. I see 85% of bets on the 49ers spread, 88% on 49ers money line. I don't think it's as free as people are claiming it and betting it to be. I think the Broncos come back here week 3. They show exactly what team they are. They've been getting the yards, getting into scoring position, haven't been converting. I think they convert here. They get back on track, and I think the Broncos money line get it done. Now, before I dive into my Survivor League pick, we moved on to week 3. I want to give you a couple leans. These went 2-0, but play at your own risk because I will not be putting any of my money on these, but I want to talk about them. My first one, Patriots, plus 3.5. Now, I did buy an extra point. As you can see, I put the odds, minus 124 on DraftKings. Now, they're taking on the Ravens. Not a surprise to see a lot of people riding with the Ravens. I mean, a lot of people were riding with the Steelers last week, and we see how that worked out. As the Patriots went into, well, now it's not Heinz Field. They went into the Steelers Stadium and beat them. People think this is a bad Patriots team, and while they might have Mac Jones and people don't think too highly of him, there's still a talented ball club with Bill Belichick at the helm. Since under Bill Belichick, the Patriots have been underdogs 19 times. 15-4 against the spread in those games. And while this Ravens team is probably due a bounce back after last week, after choking away their lead to the Dolphins, I'm not too sold on the Ravens so far this season. Their defense, ton of miscues last week, ton of defensive cornerbacks playing the wrong coverages, leading to wide open guys down the field like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and I just don't know if that's going to be fixed in 1 week. I love what I've seen out of the Patriots defense. Very elite squad, and Lamar Jackson has played the Patriots once at New England back in 2020. That was with Cam Newton as the QB for the Patriots. The Ravens lost by 6 in that contest. It's extremely tough to go into New England in their first home game this year. They've been on the road in weeks 1 and 2. First home game for New England. I think it's a lot for the Ravens to get done. Maybe they win by 3, which is why I kind of like them plus 3.5. In the Patriots. I just didn't want to make an official play because I hate rooting for the Patriots 2 weeks in a row. Now for my other lean, and you guys are going to hate this one, Colts plus 6.5. Now, This is an ultimate. You're just betting against the squares, and you're betting against the people that are just going out there and putting the Chiefs in every parlay. I mean, no one, and I mean, not even me, that's why it's a lean, wants to bet the Colts in week 3. But I think it's a sharp play. I mean, you watched them last week. They lost 24-0 to the Jaguars, losing for their 8th straight time in Jacksonville. That's not what the NFL is all about. I mean, people are going to overreact and say, yeah, right off this Colts team. They stink. Write them off, never betting on them again. I understand where you're coming from in there, but people overreact week to week in the NFL. It's only week 2, and people have written off this Colts team, which a lot of people had high hopes for coming into the year. Not a surprise to see them struggle out of the gates with a new QB. And the Chiefs are great on paper. Yes, they got Patrick Mahomes, they got Travis Kelce, they got all these guys doing things. But it's still the Colts team that's very talented. They still got Matt Ryan, an elite quarterback. And while he hasn't looked elite through 2 weeks, he's still very good. He's still a good QB. And they still got Jonathan Taylor. Those two guys can keep you in any football game. And the fact that they're only plus 6.5 at home here, I think they could keep this one close. I'm not by any means saying that the Chiefs come out here, lay an egg, and lose to the Colts outright. But the Colts, this is kind of a game where you got to show a little bit of heart. Whether you lose this one in close fashion, that could go a long way for the rest of the season. So don't be surprised if the Colts keep it close on Sunday. It's just a lean because I don't want to put my money onto this Colts team after what I've seen so far this year. But just be careful. We know everyone, and I mean everyone, you probably out there, woken up on Sunday. And again, Chiefs are going in every single one of my parlays, and I'm just saying, it's not that easy. Just look at the people that were betting the Bengals last week against a Cooper Rush-led Cowboys team. Just saying, it's the NFL. Don't overreact to just 1 or 2 weeks. The Colts are a decent football team. I think they get back on track this week and cover that plus 6.5. Now, Survivor League time. In week 1, we took the Ravens. That cashed. In week 2, we took the Rams. We moved on to week 3. And we're going to go with the Chargers this weekend as they take on the Jaguars. The Chargers are at home. They're 7-point favorites, and I don't love betting against the Jaguars after we've seen what they did last week, but this is a team that has notoriously struggled on the road. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been great on the road, and they've had the Colts number for several years. Like I said, they won 8 straight in Jacksonville against Indianapolis. And I think the Chargers, well, we know Justin Herbert is banged up. He's had, Thursday through the whole week to Sunday to get rested and get ready and really healthy. I think the Chargers are going to get this one done. I hate trusting the Chargers, but this is a different team from the past 5 or so years. This is an elite defense for the Chargers, led by Mack and obviously J.C. Jackson, who returned last week. They can certainly get it done, and I think the Chargers are a safe pick. I looked at the rest of their year on their schedule, and you look at it, they really only have a couple matchups where you're like, absolutely, I'm in. Like, they take the Houston Texans next week, and they play the Atlanta Falcons later this year. But both of those are on the road. You never really know in road teams. So I like the Chargers at home to advance us to week 4 of their Survivor League. There were a lot of people that lost last week. Glad the Rams clutched up for us, but that's my Survivor League pick for the people. Those are my 3 picks for the video. Those are my 2 leans. I appreciate you guys for tuning into this video. Thanks for hitting that like button. Thanks for subscribing if you are new. Look, we can't do it without you guys. Let's have another great week. We've been crushing these spreads and over-unders. We'll have our player props videos out a little bit later on. Depending on when you're watching, they're probably already live by now. But I appreciate you guys as always for tuning in. This is Austin. Make sure you go use those dimers.com/COS links so that you sign up for the sportsbooks and you help the channel grow. Thank you guys again for supporting the channel. See you guys next week. Peace.